That was one of the weirdest and most intimate experiences of my entire life. And that is what the ladies say about me. Okay. So I recently went to see Prima Facie at the Harold Pinter Theatre in London's West End, and I just wanted to share my thoughts on it with you because it's an incredibly powerful piece of theatre and it explores a subject which is so often swept under the societal carpet, and it shouldn't be. We should talk about it. But before we get into it, I do just want to give a trigger warning for this video. Prima Facie is a production which explores sexual violence against women, so I will be discussing that in this video. It's nothing too explicit, but this won't be a light and frothy review because it's not a light and frothy play, and I don't want to upset any women who may have trauma around this particular subject. So this is your warning to click away now if you think you might be negatively impacted by the contents of this review. So, Prima Facie is about a young barrister named Tessa who has worked her way up from working class origins to the top of her game, defending, cross-examining and winning. But an unexpected event forces her to confront the patriarchal power of the law, where the burden of proof and morality diverge. The play was written by Susie Miller, who is an Australian-British playwright and who, in her years practicing as a criminal defence lawyer, began questioning and interrogating the legal system in relation to the way women are treated when they come forward about sexual assault and rape. Tessa is played by Jodie Comer. This is Jodie's West End debut, and the winning combination of my admiration for her and my interest in the subject matter of Prima Facie did get me on a train to London ASAP. I also had a feeling this would be a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I think it's safe to say that it was. So Prima Facie starts out with this burst of energy in which Tessa takes you through her backstory, her journey to becoming a defence barrister, and she paints a vivid picture of the way that she's perceived in the courtroom as a woman. In fact, the first half of this play is both informative and comedic, and of course laughter opens up a connection, so it's quite clever the way that this play sets up that connection with the audience in the first half, because it leaves you open to absorb the much darker, more emotional elements of this play much later on, which gives a greater impact. And as I say, this play just opens with a burst of energy. Jodie has to bounce from character to character, embodying a range of vastly different personalities and emotions, and she does so flawlessly. She even dances, which I enjoyed for personal, respectful, hip-thrusting reasons. There's also a lot of commentary pertaining to how class and sex intersect with education and the courtroom environment, and this is conveyed with a comedic twinge which, like I said, allows the audience to digest the more serious socio-political commentary in a much easier way. The play then slowly progresses into a more sobering tone with the exploration of how the legal system deals with sexual violence against women, which you can see begins to unravel the way that Tessa perceives the correlation between law and justice before she herself experiences sexual violence and goes to seek out justice in a system which is not built to support her. Everything shifts in the play after this point, both visually and emotionally, and from this point there's a slow yet steady build of tension. You really feel the anguish, the fear, the anxiety, the frustration, the second guessing, and the guilt through Tessa's experience, and Jodie translates all of this to the audience with such depth. It's really raw. I mean, there's spit, there's tears, there's anger, and again, Jodie has to bounce from emotion to emotion on cue, and she does so seamlessly. It's incredible to watch. The play finishes with Tessa losing her case and describing in very plain terms how and why the legal system is flawed for victims of sexual assault and rape, and it is for sure the heaviest part of the whole production. I have read some criticisms about about the writing in relation to the ending, which, yes, it could be accused of beating the audience over the head with the same point repeatedly, but wherever the writing may have slipped, Jodie's performance and passion made up for it, and the injustice of the legal system is, unfortunately, a point which needs to be beaten into people in plain terms. So through an objective lens, I can understand the criticism in relation to some of the writing, but I don't personally agree with it, nor do I think it took anything away from or lowered the quality of this production. I can't even articulate the range of emotion and fluidity that sits at the core of Jodie's work. She really is a force of nature. She takes you through this complex and multifaceted visual journey all by herself, and it really is almost a lesson in storytelling. Let me tell you, if I had a sugar mama, I would be seeing this play 3 or 4 times, because if I had to encapsulate the experience of watching this production, it felt like Tessa and I were the only 2 people trapped in a room that was filling up with water. It was just very intense for me. I mean, it might have been because I also had a lot of anxiety watching this play. It was nothing to do with the play itself. It was just me and my body having a great time. That probably heightened the experience for me, you know. There was something going on there was. Maybe I shouldn't say this, because I don't know Jodie Comer personally. I've never met her at all, but my perception of her is that she has a touch of the ethereal. There's something almost otherworldly about her, and funnily enough, I felt the same thing reading The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. And Jodie Comer and Sylvia Plath are both Pisces, so you know it's science. It's science. Not to derail the review with nonsense, but okay. I don't think this play moved me emotionally in the way that it moved most other people. To be fair, I am dead in every way except clinically, but without sounding arrogant or wanky in any way. I did just feel like this play was rehashing an area which I'm already very familiar with and burnt out by. It's just not news to me that the legal system was created by men for men and doesn't support women. That almost all women at best have had uncomfortable experiences with men, and at worst, violent ones. I'm one of them. I come from a line of women who have trauma because of it. It's just not news to me that when something terrible happens to a woman, it's her burden. I don't think Prima Facie in itself is a groundbreaking piece of work. It's not. It's only regurgitating what women have been saying for a very, very long time. What's groundbreaking is that people are now willing to listen to what a production like Prima Facie has to say. That is a sign of the changing times. And I believe change will come from opening up these conversations, from believing and supporting women, from educating both young girls and boys about consent, and acknowledging the legal system is not built to support women, because only once we acknowledge that can steps be taken to improve things for future generations. And whilst we still have a very, very long way to go, a production like Prima Facie opens up a space for these kinds of conversations, and that in itself is a step towards the change that we need. I just thought the production in itself was mind-blowing, and I think this is one of the most profound pieces of work that Jodie's done so far, and she should be proud of herself. She should be really, really proud of herself. She just shone on that stage, both inside and out. And she looks great in a suit. I've seen it in person, so case closed. Okay guys, if you've seen Prima Facie, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe for instant disappointment, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.